Merhaba arkadaşlar, kanalıma hoş geldiniz. Bugün sizlerle tartışma yaratacak bir çalışma paylaşacağım. Uzun süredir Santos Bonacci'nin çalışmalarından bir derleme yapmayı düşünüyordum. Tek bir derleme ile onun anlattığı şeyleri aktaramayacağımı anladım. Şöyle söyleyeyim, bu video Santos Bonacci'nin savunduğu konulara sadece bir giriş videosu olsun. İlerleyen zamanlarda başka çalışmalarını da yayınlamaya çalışacağım. Bu video öncelikle Santos Bonacci ve Eddie Bravo'nun bir radyo programından kesitler içerecek. Orijinal video 2 saatin üzerinde ama hepsini çevirmeye vaktim olmadı. Anlattıkları çok derin bilgiler arkadaşlar. O nedenle benim tavsiyem durdurarak, not alarak tekrar tekrar izlemeniz. Ben orijinal videoyu 3 kez izledim. Çünkü eğer burada şimdi ne anlattığını anlamazsanız bu videonun devamı da çok havada kalabilir. O nedenle not alarak izlemenizi tavsiye ediyorum. Şimdilik bir Santos'la bir giriş yapalım. Bakalım ondan sonra video nereye doğru gidecek.
Everything is atomic. The problem is most people don't know what an atom is. And when you learn and know what an atom is, it is a trinity, a neutron, a proton, and an electron. You will find that trinity transfers into every other field of human knowledge. In religion, it's called the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Oh my God.
In science, it's dielectricity, magnetism, and electricity, the three field modalities of the universe. Everything is magnetic. In fact, God is magnetism. Most people will laugh at that because they see little magnets pushing each other and attracting, and they think, oh, this is a clever little powerful thing. And energy is conscious. Energy is intelligent. Nothing is not. And that's what God is. God is. It is magnetism. So people are going to see that not only, I'm not going to be theorizing. It's not theories. It's not my theories. I'm not smart enough to make theories. It's just proof. And extensive, exhaustive, comprehensive proof, simple, that nature is simple. And we come from the field, the cosmos, the field, and the field is what most people call God, right? And the field is dielectric black light, which has its opposite and equal co-eternal white light, the yin and yang, which is magnetism. So there in the yin and yang is the secret. Basically, I'll be starting with that, the simple things of light and sound and magnetism to explain it. In our cosmos, there are 7 planets which make all these frequencies happen to coagulate and coalesce and make tables, what's solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. The 7 planets, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, those 7, which are aligned with your 7 chakras, and that's how you have a body, a subtle body, because you have 7 chakras. They are discs. Chakra means disc in Sanskrit, of energy, of light. So you have 7 in you. The color of the rainbow is in you. The bottom one's red, the top one's blue. Red shift, blue shift.
Red, blue, Democrat, Republican, red, blue.
Red pill, blue pill. Roses, red, violets are blue. Red siren, blue siren. Red tap, blue tap. Because those colors, so your torso is a torus field. You have an aura going around you. It goes in your perineum, in your fontanelle, and out your perineum at the red shift. In here, blue shift. Violet, indigo, blue chakra. So your torso knows about red shift, blue shift.
How do we know that those colors are real? Like, is there like some kind of infrared goggles we could look? Wouldn't that be cool if we could put on some goggles and see all the chakras? Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yes.
How do we know that? What's the proof that they're? You always, I mean, I go to yoga. I see, when I go to the bathroom, they got a chakra chart, big ass one. I'm taking the league. I'm always looking at that. I'm like trying to remember that shit. Yellow, green, red. How do we know that's real?
Because of the frequency. And they tell you the red chakra has 4 petals in Hindu. They say 4 petals. The orange one above has 6. The yellow one has 10. The green heart chakra has 12. This one has 16. The third eye has 96. Top one, indigo, a violet, has 1,000. When you add all the 6 bottom ones, you come to 144. Thank you, Bible, Revelation 14. when you multiply with the 1,000-petaled lotus on the top, the crown, Kronos chakra, then you get 144,000, the magical number. It's in you. It's in your chakras. So why has the bottom one got 4 petals, and which is red, and why has the blue chakra got 16 petals? Because they're telling you it has a higher frequency. And if you get a blue laser as opposed to a red laser, which one is going to burn you more? Which one's more powerful, red or blue? Blue. Yeah, because it has a
Star
higher
Wars,
capacity.
blue lasers are good.
Red is bad.
Yeah.
There was a speed metal band in the 80s called Agent Steel. And they had a song that went 144 with the opening of the door. 144. I never knew what the fuck that meant, but now I do.
Right, and in the Bible, in Revelation 14, it says, and the holy ones, the 144,000, stand upon Mount Zion with the Lamb of God, and they sing a new song. It's the same thing, Eddie. That's the same thing. They're telling you how you can raise your consciousness from survival, sexuality, and power to heart living, speaking the truth, and the head, heaven. Head is heaven.
Oh, man.
Your heel is hell. Heel, hell.
Yeah.
Head, heaven. Same root.
Oh, my God, dude.
All is atum. So when you climb through those chakras, when you raise your energy level, the capacitance of each chakra is more, like your lasers, is higher. So your spirituality is higher, right? And so what happens is the mountain that the 144,000 are standing on, that's your vertebrae. It's called Mount Meru. And it's in the middle of the disc flat earth, Mount Meru. It's called Merudanda. Your spinal column is called Merudanda. It's a mountain. And on top of the mountain is the Lamb of God, Aries, my sign. Aries is the cerebrum, the cerebram, the Ram of God. So the Lamb of God is standing upon Mount Zion, your vertebrae, with the 144,000, singing a new song. Why is it a new song? Because your consciousness is different there. You're not singing the same old song of, oh, I want money, I want a girl, I want a car, and all of what you now want is you want to ascend, and you want to escape the material entrapments, disentangle yourself from reincarnating in misery,
escape the matrix,
and be unlimited and unconditioned, and have your full power restored, your full magic, magnetic power. We're just waiting for that to happen.
Amen, dude.
But we have to do the good works. Moderation, no addictions.
What do you think? What do you think the planets are? They're lights? Is it like it's not like dirt or like
No.
It's the planets aren't like Mars isn't like dirt.
No, not at all.
So they're not
What are
landing.
they?
So they're not landing Mars rovers on Mars, right?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
What are they doing?
It's fake.
Well, it's what they're doing is they're going to places like Greenland with very, very exotic landscape, and they're making it look like it, and then they're colouring it to look red and what have you. Wikipedia, if you go to Wikipedia, which I'm in now, and you look up under Saturn, in the first sentence it will tell you that Saturn is a gas giant. And then you go to Jupiter and it tells you that Jupiter is a gas giant.
Yeah.
Then you ask what the sun is, they say it's hydrogen and helium. Well, that's gas. Why is Venus or Mars or the moon where they landed, why is it an exception? You can see with your own eyes that it's a light. Ptolemy, for thousands of years before the Jesuit Copernicus turned up and made a spinning ball, was saying all of the 7 planets are entirely luminous. There it is. They are portals. They are holes in the sky. The great Italian genius Pierluigi Gina, who was a colleague of Marconi, the inventor of the radio, thank you very much, these two geniuses, he studied the sun and energy, and he's a stationary earther. He's insisted, up until the day he died, 2004, you see him on YouTube, little Italian man saying, "La terra è ferma." He says, me and Marconi discovered that the earth is stationary. It doesn't move. And then he takes you into his laboratory and shows you with strobe lights how you can prove quite easily that the earth does not move.
Oh, here we go.
Well,
We're in it.
he said the stars are holes in the sky. So that got me thinking. The Greeks said that the stars are like nailed onto the firmament. The Babylonians says that the stars are glued onto like an aerogel sort of floating in space chandelier type thing where all the stars and the 7 planets are going around on the ecliptic. And they said that's like a chandelier and they're pinned to it. They're holes in the sky. Check out a guy called Eric Dollard on YouTube. He's a great scientist. I think he was here in California till the government destroyed his 20th laboratory, and he is one of the best magnetricians. If you want to know about magnetism, Ken Wheeler, Eric Dollard, he talks about the sun. He says the sun's cold, the only arcing, it's empty, it's a black, when you see sunspots in the sun, which I can see just by sun gazing, I see sunspots, black holes, it's because the sun is empty. It's a portal. The moon is empty. You can see on the new moon, you can see a ring, and there's black, and you can see it's a hole. Clearly, it's a hole. You go through it.
Oh, you're telling me there's no moon there?
There is. There is.
It's not it's not a solid object. Is that what? Is that? I mean,
Not solid as we know solid. It's a more attenuated transcendental material. Atoms can act differently when they're in a different dimension. It's transitive.
What is NASA trying to do with all their space science?
They're trying to make a godless world of
Oh my God!
everyone is insignificant except for the rich people who've got all the money. They're significant because they're on the glossy magazines. You're not. And the sun's, and we're hurtling through space, and we don't know when it's all going to blow up, and blah blah blah. And there's no organization.
There's an asteroid coming. We need an asteroid tax, right?
Yeah, exactly. Give us some money, we'll stop it. We've got the technology.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Yeah.
they're saying there's aliens. So if there's other aliens, we're insignificant.
Are there aliens?
Well, it depends what you call alien. In Bhagavad Gita, they tell you that the demonic entities that have been under the earth, there are 7 more planets that are discs.
What?
Yeah.
So dimensions.
In the fifth
7 flat worlds.
pretty much. Yes, 7
Like
levels.
a book.
So
Like
that's where
paper.
that's where hollow theory and flat Earth
Yes,
collide.
exactly. Or no, syncretize.
Yeah.
I've syncretized it in all my countless flat Earth videos that I've been making since 2015. I was one of the first ones that jumped on the flat Earth. And when you went to Google and put flat Earth in, guess who was #1 for 2 years in a row between 2016 and 2017?
More than Eric
Yours
Dubé?
truly.
My
yeah,
man.
me. Yeah, for sure.
My man.
Because I was putting out so many presentations because I'm coming from the Jewish tradition. I'm coming from Bhagavad Gita. I'm showing how the Bible proves it with great etymological proofs. And no one else is doing that. Eric Dubé is not doing that. He's doing science straight. And all these other guys, they're just doing their, which is good. No judgment,
right.
but I'm the only
all
one
good.
who can show you from astrology, from the Bible, and from the East, and from all traditions, how they all syncretize and concur that the Earth is a stationary horizontal plane.
I love.
You have to do it like that. If you don't do it like that, you can't do it properly. You can't just have one angle. You can't just say, oh, all the scientific experiments that have been conducted prove, George Airy, James Bradley, Sunyak, Michelson Morley, they all prove that the Earth is stationary, and that's your one angle. You can't just have one angle. See, I do that and all the other angles. You have to do that. It's got to
love
be
it,
comprehensive
dude.
for people to then embrace the truth.
So we are living. Is this a dimension, or is it solidified? Is it like what? Are we living in an energy force that has multiple layers? There's a whole thing with Anunnaki. Your thoughts on Anunnaki?
Well, you know the Kabbalistic tree, right?
I
There it is there, the 10 Sephiroth, your 10 fingers. There's Kether. Where's the camera there?
they're all over.
There,
the
there you
planet.
go. And there's Malkuth, the earth. Now, that's Kether, which is ether. That's earth, which is solid, and that's where we live, in Malkuth.
Okay.
Right? Then you've got all the elements. There's 5 elements, right? Ether, that's why you do thumbs up. Good on you, man. Because that's ether.
Yeah.
Ether, fire, plasma. Air, gas. Water, liquid. I'm going from the platonic solids to what science calls them now. And earth, solid. So is it a dimension? Yes, it is. But it's all these things. It's all of the Kabbalistic tree, from Kether to earth, which is ether to earther, same word. So if you're asking, what's the earth? Well, it's just ether in a gross, more solidified form. So however you look here and whatever you do, you are the same in your etheric body, which is wrapped around you in an aura. Okay? So, for instance, if you get your arm amputated because it's so painful and it's got, whatever, some disease, years later you can still be feeling the pain from it, right?
Yeah.
Why? Why is that? Because the magnetic ether is still there. Your etheric hand is still there. You can't amputate that. And the pain is in it. Because if you've got pain here in your mind and physical body, psychosomatic, physical and psychological, then it must be in the ether as well. Because everything departs from there. Where we go wrong is we've followed materialist scientists like
Yes.
Newton, Aristotle and Einstein. They are materialists, not Plato, who was transcendentalist. So I'm a Neoplatonist. What they want you to believe is that everything comes from the material substance, you know, like a primordial soup, and then we evolved through that, and it was unconscious, but somehow consciousness and love and affection and music and all these other transcendental gifts that we have evolved from that, right? Whereas scripture and true science really teaches that everything that you see with your physical eyes that is electrical comes from counter space. Eric Dollard, Ken Wheeler, all of these great real scientists will tell you that. What is counter space? Okay. Fortunately, we have a really good example of how to explain how we come here and how everything comes here via the computer.
Yeah.
If you go and buy a hard drive, 50 gig hard drive, and it's empty, you've got the same brand and it's full. It's got 50 gigabyte of photos and movies and all sorts of stuff on it. Which one weighs more?
That one does.
Does it? No, it doesn't.
Come on, XG.
They weigh the same. And yet this one's full and this one's empty. How is it that a computer full of data still weighs the same? Because the files, they're in counter space. They're not spatial. They're zeros and ones. They do not occupy any space. You can't open a hard drive and say, oh, there you go, there's my photo.
Yeah.
Like a doctor can't open your heart and say,
Counter
oh, there's
space.
that bad emotion that caused the heart attack. You didn't forgive your brother 10 years ago. Now we have to operate on your heart. Let's get this emotion and chuck it out. Let's check out your brain too and pull out all the bad thoughts. They're not there. Where are they? They're stored in counter space. So what happens is...
Where is counter space?
Exactly. Well, it's the transcendence. It's counter space is not visible to us, but it is where everything comes from. And atoms, redshift, blueshift, are what brings them out into the material world by means of a vibration, a toroidal field. You see, a torus field, like your torso,
Yeah.
it's redshift, blueshift. You see, there is a red and blue yin and yang, which is always a subset to the black and white yin and yang. And the red and blue yin and yang is on the Korean flag. The South Korean flag has the red and blue yin and yang. All they're telling you on that flag is that those are the two colors of polarity of the vibratory physical world. The magnetic radiation world is not physical. Magnetism, which is 10 billion times more powerful than electricity, is spiritual. Thank you, John Mawelsky. Electricity is physical. This is electric. Your spirit and soul, magnetic.
So it's magnetism versus electricity in a weird way. So my whole theory is like nothing is real. I don't know if it's real, but it's all vibrations, right? Like this
Vibrations.
is of there's a program or something, zeros, ones, and twos, that tells me my program or my energy that when I touch this is what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily real, or is it real? I don't know, but this is just vibrations.
It is real, but it's temporal. It gives you the illusion of permanence. This table won't be here in a couple hundred years. The atoms will just disperse, decay, and transmute into something else. So
Decay
it
is
is
the
real, but temporary. That's why it's an illusion. So magnetism is the motion of white light, which makes all of this theatre. Hence, that information that we're talking to someone across the world, the earth, and instantly it's going through the ether. That's why. It's going through the ether. They tell you that radio waves go through the air. They tell you that some other waves go through the water and everything. What about the ether? Einstein destroyed the ether, whereas guys like Tesla, Eric Dollard now, Ken Wheeler, they're bringing back the ether. Thank you very much. When they did the interferometer experiment, Sagnac and Michelson-Morley, to see if the Earth is moving, what they did was they made this big table that turns, and they had light projecting from this angle, contrary to the supposed motion of the Earth, and then one's going in this way, which is going with the flow of the Earth. And what happens was they shot a beam of light across to a reflector, split the beam, split it again, and then recombined the beams of light, and they didn't have any interference patterns, proving that if you've got a round table that is turning on a spinning Earth, and you have beams going across each other, split and then recombined with no interference patterns, then nothing is moving that is solid. It's the ether. They proved, Michelson Morley, that the ether exists. Thank you, Pierluigi Gino, as well, the Italian genius, who said, the sun is rotating above our heads in the ether. And Marconi, they all knew this.
Are they part of the filament? I mean, like, are they inside it, or are they just part of it?
Inside. They are inside of it.
With the stars, or what are you talking
They
about?
are
stars
on
are
the
whole.
firmament.
The stars are on the inside of the firmament.
No, they're,
No, the stars
are holes.
they're
The stars
in
are
the
holes.
filament.
They
When
are
you
in-
see a star, that's a hole in the
Hole.
filament.
Yes, but the sun is on the ecliptic under the stars. They are called the fixed stars. Then the 7 planets, we're calling them planets, but they are called the wanderers. The Greeks called them the 7 wanderers, okay? Because they also look just like the stars, but they keep moving, whereas, Taurus and Aries, their positions never move, and yet Jupiter's going through them every year, and Mercury and the Sun, they're going through them on the ecliptic. Well, those 7 planets, according to the Jewish system, like the Russian dolls, like an onion, layers within layers, we on the Earth, we are one layer. Then the Moon's layer, the Moon is the first portal. She's the first wormhole. She has the first sphere above our heads. I believe that's what they call the ionosphere, the troposphere, and all these spheres, and then they call them belts. Kuiper belt,
Van Allen.
asteroid
Van
belt,
Allen belt.
Van Allen belt, sphere, belt,
There's
sphere.
all the belts, man. Astro
Toroidal-
belt, Van Allen belt. Those are just.
The planetary spheres.
Oh,
They are belts.
man.
They are
Johnny's mind is blown. Look at him. Dude. I knew that. That's what those.
So,
belts
do you think Nikola Tesla figured out, or did he know that we were on some flat, motionless plane?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
How do we know that he figured that out?
There was a quote from him that said that we're living in a realm.
Yeah,
That is
I
it is a
heard
realm. I'm not sure
Realm
whether it's
is
in
a dimension, realm.
How come there? He died like in 47 or something, right? How come there isn't any video of him giving speeches or talking or interviews?
Exactly.
Why?
They wiped them.
I don't know. Possibly too dangerous. And you see, if you knew that the material model is wrong and the atomic model is wrong, it's a transcendental.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Yeah, if you knew it, then you would be free from this system in every way possible, as I am. You would be totally, totally free from all of their mind control programs. Because you would know that you come from the transcendence. You'll work it out if you meditate on your computer, how everything comes from what is not seen. The Bible says that. It says, we know that everything that is seen comes from what is not seen. It's reverse.
Do you think there's some kind of like the creator, the person or thing or entity that made this
System,
sun, and
whatever it is.
all the stuff that you're talking about had to be created, right? By
Absolutely.
and so who is that guy?
the Creator.
Book of Enoch. What do you know about that?
Well, again, that's Moses. Enoch is Hermes, is Mercury, the planet, is Buddha, is Nebuchadnezzar. All of those words, that's Mercury. Hermes, the book of Hermes. See, Moses has 2 tablets. The book of Enoch is 2 tablets. Hermes has his 2 green tablets. It's all that. It's all the same thing. It's the messenger of God. It's the word of God, the intelligence communication from source to human beings when you meditate. When you meditate, you go into the magnetic field where you are one and still, and all of that information comes to you. That's how the gurus got it. The secret is meditation.
So what do you think?
Stillness.
What do you think?
I'm in,
So you're
dude.
saying the stars and the wandering stars, aka planets, are holes in the firmament, right? So what we're looking at what's beyond the firmament through those holes, those lights, right?
Exactly.
So that would mean that the firmament is what's rotating, right? The firmament's rotating,
Exactly.
not actual stars floating in the sky spinning. It's the holes that are spinning.
Like a chandelier, according to Bhagavad Gita, Canto 5, it says, the earth is a bhumandala. Bu means plane. It's a plane mandala. A mandala is like a square or a circle with all those beautiful shapes. The earth is called Bhumandala on the island of Jambudweep, and in the center is Mount Meru, and Brahma sits on top. Brahma is Jehovah. Abraham sits on top of that mountain, and from that mountain, that magnetic mountain, it shoots onto the firmament and creates the wormhole of the sun. It makes it from Mount Meru. It is a clock which turns every 24 hours. It turns and it projects from the center of the earth, magnetic, onto the firmament. But
So the sun's coming from the center of the earth, coming from the North Pole, basically.
it is.
And now, how is Polaris, which is coincidentally right above the North Pole, and that's the only fixed star, it doesn't move? What is the relationship between Polaris and the North Pole?
Polaris in acupuncture is right here at the top of your head. When I was doing acupuncture, I learned that there are 12 meridians in your body, and Polaris is sitting right on top of your head. This is the dome. The firmament is here. This is the vault of heaven, head, because all of the spiritual intelligence stuff happens here. There is another dome, your abdomen. That's another dome. So there's a dome, and then there's a vault of heaven above that. And that's where the true sun is, where the light is coming through those holes. So the sun has not got it. It is original magnetic source light, but from another source. It's a transmitter. Thank you, Eric Dollard. Who says that the sun is a transmitter of primary energy to secondary energy. Well, I've just explained that theologically, from the monad to the dyad, because the sun is the creator of this world. Walter Russell said that. He said, every little atom that exists and dances on this, whatever we see, comes from the sun. Everything. The sun is the creator, not the prime creator, like a carpenter. He gets bricks and wood and makes a house. He can't say he made the bricks and the wood, but he can say that he created and built the house. But he's not the creator. He created the house. He's a builder. So the builder is the sun. But the true prime creator is the original light in the dome of heaven,
Monad.
above the abdomen, where we live. We live in the heart of the God system, because heart is an anagram for earth, heart and earth. This is where we live. We live in the heart of God. Thank you, Neoplatonists.
Yes, I've heard that. We live in this giant being, right?
On a horizontal vertical plane, because your heart is radiating horizontally. When people meet you and they've got a radiating heart, it's radiating horizontally. That's what it's doing. It's radiating in every direction, but it is a plane horizontally. And then you have a vertical ecliptic going through you as well. And all the zodiac signs go through your body. Aries is the cerebrum, Taurus is the cerebellum, the motor nerves. Aries are the sensory nerves, brain.
God.
So that's why the Taurus is strong, right? They're strong, right? So it's because it's the motor nerves. They own that system. Gemini, the twins. There's your twins. Twin lungs. Cancer is the chest. Leo is the heart, the lion heart. Virgo is the belly. Libra, the scales are the two kidneys, yin and yang. Scorpio is the generative system, ovaries and testes.
Hell yeah.
Sagittarius is the hips. Hippo means horse. Hips. There you go. Everybody's walking on their Sagittarius hippos. Capricorn's the knees. Aquarius is the shins. And the 2 feet are the 2 fish of Pisces. Your body is Adam Kadmon. It is an ideal blueprint from the transcendence, which comes out in atoms, redshift, blue shift, and manifests in this plane called the Earth, which is a theater.
Unbelievable.
It's so simple. It really is simple.
It's
They don't
simple,
want you
but
to know
so deep.
Because then you would know that when your body, which gets old and decays because it's a vibratory body, it's not a radiation body. well, it is radiation as well, but because your body mainly vibrates and is made of atoms, it must decay and must die. They want you to believe that that's it. That was your chance, man. You only get one chance in the ring, dude. Now you've done it. You've blown your chance. No, we are immortal. We have two lives, an immortal one and a repeatedly mortal one.
Şimdi izlerken büyük ihtimalle bir kısmınız ayın ışığı bitti, şimdi de güneş mi çıktı başımıza diyenleriniz var. Ama bunları konuşmak zorundayız arkadaşlar. Bizler zaten dünyanın düz olduğunu söyleyerek bir takım zincirleri kırmış insanlarız. O nedenle bunları konuşmaktan korkmayalım. Şimdi bu iddia ya da tespit ne Santos Bonacci'ye ait ne de başka bir düz dünyacıya ait arkadaşlar. Bu güneşle ilgili, yani güneşin sadece bir yüzeyden ibaret olduğuna dair bu iddiayı ortaya atan kişi kesinlikle düz dünya ile hiçbir alakası olmayan bilim adamı Erik Dollard'a ait. Şimdi Erik Dollard kim derseniz kısaca özetleyeyim. Erik Dollard elektrik araştırmaları alanında yaşayan efsane ve hatta ikinci Tesla olarak gösterilen bir elektrik mühendisi. Birçok kişi tarafından elektriğin gerçek doğası hakkında bugün yaşayan en bilgili uzman olarak kabul ediliyor. Tesla'nın ölümünden bu yana bu büyüteç vericiyi başarıyla inşa eden tek kişiymiş Dollard. Ve Dollard aynı zamanda tüm elektrik fenomenlerinin kalkülüs ya da Maxwell denklemlerini kullanmadan da matematiksel olarak nasıl ölçülebileceğini, alternatif elektrik dalgalarının sembolik temsili ve genelleştirilmiş elektrik dalgasının sembolik temsili isimleri kitaplarında açıklayan bir bilim adamı. Şimdi Santos Bonacci'nin söyledikleri bu bilgiler ışığında yeniden düşünmenizi istiyorum ve tabii önce bir de dahinin kendi ağzından duyalım bakalım güneşle ilgili neler söylemiş. Ondan sonra bunun üzerine yine konuşacağız. Şimdi bir Erik Dollard'ın kısa bir videosu var. Ona ekleyeceğim. Dediğim gibi ondan sonra yine üzerine konuşmaya devam edeceğiz.
The solar, there's 22-year-long solar cycles of deadness and activity and deadness and activity. They started in the early Renaissance. They peaked out around World War II, and now that we're in cycle 24, the sun's going dead, and it's not creating an ionosphere. It's like the solar cycles are ending. So today the solar flux is 140 something. It should be 200 and something. So the sun's only operating at half power right now for this part of the cycle. So you don't have the ionosphere that you need in order to communicate to other parts of the world. It's all dissipated.
So ham radio's dying.
Well, I made it so there was no ham radio available for a year during the minimum of the cycle. Now we're at the maximum, and the maximum is no better than a minimum. So now the question is when it goes into the minimum in the next 7 years, how dead is the sun going to get? The last minimum, it got record dead. The solar flux never dropped below 60, ever. This time it went down to 58. And you couldn't communicate via the ionosphere. So the sun can be reconfiguring for a cold, dead cycle, like in the Dark Ages. There's a popular book written on the subject called Jupiter Effect. It's actually fairly accurate.
The Jupiter effect.
Yeah, it was about the total planetary alignment in 1980. And the solar flares that it was predicted to create, according to the RCA theory. And the solar flares happened just like they were predicted. It controls all the frequencies. So if you don't know what the sun's doing, you don't know what frequencies to use. That's why RCA started radio astrology. You have to know what the sun's doing, and the planets tell you what the sun's doing. So RCA gave me the equipment, Sonoma State provided me with the place to do it, and the cosmos provided me with the total planetary alignment. So I was the guy with the equipment and everything right there as the thing happened. I studied the whole event over the couple of years that the whole solar cycle built into this alignment. There's no inside structure.
Is it hollow?
Yeah, there's only a surface. There's nothing inside.
Is the sun actually, do you believe, combusting in on
It's
itself?
not burning anything. There's no fusion in the sun. That's well understood.
Proven.
Yeah, well, there's just not the way to prove that there is any. It's only in the flares that you get fusion. That's why all the X-rays. The flares, the arcs, and the X-rays, and the microwaves, and whatever result of fusion in the arcs. There's no fusion in the sun. They don't know how the sun works.
Why do you, what's special, how does the sun make light?
It's a transformer. Transforms from some other dimension. It's not burning anything. It doesn't have to. It's a converter.
Of what?
I don't know. Nobody knows. But that's what it does. That's the only thing it can do, because that's how everything works.
It's transforming from another dimension.
Yeah, you could say it's taking energy from another dimension, counter space.
Evet, ne düşünüyorsunuz arkadaşlar? Çok sıra dışı değil mi? Bugün normalde NASA'nın ya da işte diğer önde gelen, şöyle söyleyeyim, ana akım bilimin bize güneşle ilgili söylediklerinin tamamen dışında bir şeyler söylüyor bu adam. Mümkün olabilir mi? Bence mümkün. Çünkü bir defa ben NASA'ya güvenmiyorum. Ondan sonra başkaları için geçerli olmayabilir ama ben ortaya atılan bir iddianın eğer herhangi bir kutsal yazıda bir karşılığı varsa ben ciddiye alıyorum. Siz almayabilirsiniz. Almayanlara da saygı duyuyorum. Ama benim için kutsal yazılar da önemli. Kutsal yazılara kayıtsız kalmayan birinden daha bahsedeceğim ilerleyen dakikalarda. O yüzden şimdi artı bununla ilgili söyleyeceğim başka şeyler de olacak ama şimdi buraya bir detay eklemem gerekiyor. Şimdi Erik Dolar Düz Dünya tarafında bir adam değil. Yani bunu, hatta bu soruyu soruyorlar Düz Dünya ile ilgili ne düşünüyorsunuz diye. Bunu söylemek istiyorum. Yani yarın öbür gün kalkıp da başkaları söylemeden ben söylemiş olayım. Çünkü haberimiz var yani arkadaşlar. Hakkında konuştuğum adamları araştırıp öyle videolarıma konu ediyorum. Şimdi bir videoda diyorlar Erik Dolar'da Düz Dünya ile ilgili ne düşünüyorsunuz diye, mümkün olmayacağını söylüyor ama gerekçeleri de şunlar. Yani bu adamın Düz Dünya konusunda hiçbir şekilde düşünmediği, hiçbir şekilde araştırma yapmadığı verdiği cevapta ortaya çıkıyor. Diyor ki, neden Filipinlere gideceksem Alaska üzerinden uçuyorum. İkinci olarak da diyor ki, Moskova'dan bir telsiz sinyali almak istiyorsam neden anteni Kuzey Kutbu'na doğru çevirmeliyim? Ve diyor ki, neden batı kıyısından kalkan bir uçak diyor doğu kıyısına inebilir diyor. Ve birlikte program yaptığı kişi de işte düzse neden kenarından bir fotoğrafı yok diye soruyor ki bence Düz Dünya ile ilgili sorulan en sığ sorulardan biri olduğunu düşünüyorum bunun. Yani ben şu anda bu sorulara cevap verme gereği bile hissetmiyorum. Çünkü bunların hepsi bir tarafımızdan defalarca açıklandı. Ama işte Düz Dünya konusunu hiç ele almamış birisinin ilk etapta sorduğu sorular bunlar. O nedenle açıkça ortada ki Erik Dolar'ın da hiç bu konuda herhangi bir çalışması olmamış. O nedenle Düz Dünya'nın da mümkün olmayacağını düşünüyor. Ama tabii söylediği şeyler de sadece Düz Dünya'da mümkün. Öyle NASA sistemindeki bir evrende söylediği şeyler mümkün değil Erik Dolar'ın. Neyse, şimdi Erik Dolar için bu kadar yeterli. Şimdi ben başka bir bilim adamından daha bahsetmek istiyorum. Onu da bir ele alalım. Ondan sonra hepsini toparlamaya çalışacağım. Yine Santos Bonacci'nin videoda bahsettiği Pierluigi Igina, hatırlıyorsunuz. Ne demişti Santos Bonacci? Bu adam Pierluigi Igina dünyanın hareket etmediğini ispatlamış bir adam demişti. Hem de telsizin mucidi olan Marconi ile birlikte ispatlamış bir adam. Onunla yapılmış bir röportaj var. Santos Bonacci katıldığı başka bir programda Pierluigi'nin konuşmalarını İtalyancadan çeviriyor. Ben bu çevirinin kontrolünü eşime yaptırdım. Benim eşim de Santos gibi İtalyan. Eşim de Santos'un tercümesini onayladı. O nedenle gönül rahatlığıyla burada Santos'un yaptığı yoruma güvenerek onu yayınlıyorum. Şimdi o videoyu da izleyelim. Sonra yine konuşacağız.
Now,
I'm going to have to translate this, so please let me know if the volume is good.
Fare la cosa principale è che queste conoscenze adesso fa ridere, perché è mai possibile dire che la Terra è ferma e via l'energia, eppure quando vanno a mandare su i missili.
Okay. What he's about to show this interviewer a machine which proves that the Earth is stationary. Okay? Now, there's going to be 4 major points that you will learn in these 3 minutes that I hope that everyone takes and shares with all the doubters that they know. Okay? The first point he's saying here is to prove that the Earth is firm and stationary is very, very easy to do. Essentially, that's what he's saying here. And the first point he's going to make is when missiles are launched, they have to take a curved linear trajectory. They cannot go directly. Now, this is something very interesting. I didn't know that until I heard it from this guy.
Di sopra, ma non possono andare direttamente, ma devono prendere una traiettoria che è il movimento rotatorio del Sole che fa spostare per arrivare a quel punto.
There you go. Now, what he just said was that to launch a missile, you have to launch it in a curved trajectory in order to overcome the turning magnetic energy of the sun. Okay? Point number 1. He just said that. Okay, here is a scientist and he's got all these machines. He's not just anyone saying it.
Quando voi sparate, siete dei cacciatori voi altri, no? No. Beh, il cacciatore quando spara mette dentro la pallottola e poi spara, ma dentro nella canna c'è una spirale che lo fa girare per vincere il movimento rotatorio dell'energia che sente.
Okay, another example. A gun barrel, he said, inside of all gun barrels there are spirals. Why? So the bullet can turn, and as it exits the barrel, it is spinning. Why does it need to spin? Because it needs to overcome the rotating, turning magnetic energy of the sun. Now, the premise of this man and Marconi's energy understanding is that there are 2 energies. There is the spiraling, rotating energy of the sun coming from above, which is what we call the ether, the turning field. And then he says that there is the earth energy. So there is solar energy and earth energy. The sun's energy is spiraling in a clockwise manner, and it spirals and expands. And then when it reaches the earth, it is turned around, and then the spiral is counterclockwise, and it is going upward. And he says this is what he and Marconi discovered. There is only these 2 energies. So what we've learnt so far is very interesting, because he is acknowledging that the solar energy is turning, it is rotating, and in order for bullets and missiles to overcome that, they have to take a curved trajectory, or the bullet must be spinning to overcome this magnetic field. And this is probably what people are referring to as the Coriolis effect. I'll get into that if we have to.
Invece l'uomo crede che la Terra è... Ma Picchi ha fatto un apparecchio talmente sensibile... Questo scusi? Zecchicchi, professor Zecchicchi. Lo conoscete, no? È quello che studia là, che fa dei grandi studi. Contemporaneo? Laggiù in Bassa Italia. Zecchicchi. Solo io non lo conosco. Ad ogni modo, ha fatto un apparecchio talmente sensibile che la Terra, appena che si muove un decimo di millimetro, si riscontra. Allora, la Terra è ferma o si muove?
Oh, this is beautiful. Now, he's referring to a guy called Jekiki, who comes from southern Italy. And he made a machine, he said, that can detect the movement of the Earth 1/10 of a millimeter. Now, his argument is, how is it possible that the Earth is moving? This scientist in southern Italy has made a machine that can detect 1/10 of a millimeter of movement of the Earth. Now he asks the interviewer, you tell me now, is the Earth moving or is it still?
Secondo questi apparecchi? Questo apparecchio può vedere che la Terra è ferma.
Did you hear that? La terra è ferma. He said, according to this machine, the Earth is still. La terra è ferma. That's terra firma. Okay, so he's saying it's firm, it's fixed, it does not move. Now here is the machine which proves it. Let me show you the machine, then I will explain how it works.
Ecco, voi vedete, qui c'è l'energia solare e l'energia terrestre. Se lo vedete questo che è fermo?
Sì.
Noi vediamo quello là che si muove. Perché l'energia...
Okay, so what he's showing is that everything in his room is still, is it not? Well, the interviewer says, yes, it is. And he's got, where you saw that strobe light, he has a strobe light lighting up two fields. The Earth field, the Earth energy, or spiral, and the solar spiral. And then he points up to this machine up here, and he's showing how it's showing the illusion of movement. Let's watch that.
solare che fa girare il movimento della Terra.
Cioè lei dice l'ombra praticamente.
È l'ombra, noi vediamo l'ombra, perché questo è fermo, è per quello che fa 15 metri.
So what he's showing clearly all the machinery is still, and yet it appears to move. And what he's explaining is that the strobe light is catching that effect because the solar energy is rotating. Now these are the words of a genius, guys. I'm only the translator here, okay?
20 anni cominceranno a credere perché sono convinti che la Terra è ferma.
See, and he says in 20 years mankind will understand this because mankind is still observing effects and not causes, and their senses are being fooled by effects.
Ma ad esempio, quando tipo adesso i russi e gli americani, qua tutto il mondo ha i satelliti, no? E proprio il satellite, da satellite diciamo ha un obiettivo.
È uguale, solo che invece di credere che la Terra gira l'energia solare.
Ah, è l'energia che gira.
È solare che gira.
E lei in base a quale conoscenze?
Guglielmo Marconi ha messo una antenna in alto.
Okay, did you hear him mention Guglielmo Marconi? Now, the interviewer is saying, well, how do you know that that the Earth is firm? How do you know? He says, my friend Guglielmo Marconi. He said he made an antenna, and the top part of the antenna extended into the heavens to draw in solar energy. The bottom part of the antenna was projected into the ground to capture the Earth's energy. Okay, let me just continue.
Basso trovate il ritmo Sole-Terra. L'energia solare scende a spirale con le indicazioni di sfondo.
Right, now he's explaining that that what they discovered, Marconi discovered, he discovered Earth and solar energy. He discovered these two forms of energy. And when he put his testing equipment to it, he discovered that one of the fields is not rotating. The Earth's spiral does not rotate. It spirals, but there's no rotation, whereas the ether is rotating as it's spiraling. Now, what he's explaining now is that the solar energy comes from the sun in a spiral, and it's right-handed.
entra nella terra, riesce nuovamente nella terra a senso contrario.
It enters into the earth and re-exits the earth in a counterclockwise spiral.
Perché è rovesciata.
And that's it.
Evet, Santos'un ilk videoda bahsettiği yıldızların gök kubbe üzerine çivilenmiş delikler olduğunu söyleyen bilim adamı buydu arkadaşlar. Pierre Luigi'ydi. Ve gördüğünüz gibi dünyanın hareketsizliği konusunda da son derece iddialı bir adam. Dünyanın hareketsizliği daha önce Sagnac, Airy, Michelson Morley, Michelson Gale gibi bilim adamları tarafından defalarca deneylerle ispatlandı ama bu deneyler bilim tarihine başarısızlık olarak geçti. Bu deneylerin ortak özelliği hepsinin 5. element eterle ilişkili olmasıydı ve sonuçta Einstein eter yoktur diye ortaya çıktı ve işte Kopernik'in ispatlanmamış modelinin hayatını kurtardı. Mesela bu eterle ilgili çalışmalarıyla ünlenmiş bir başka isim de Dayton Miller'dır. Hani ünlenmiş dediğime bakmayın, birçoğunuzun bu adamın ismini duymadığına eminim. Çünkü Dayton Miller 1900'lü yıllarda ünlüydü ama tabii ki de ana akım bilim bu isimleri öne çıkarmadığı için Dayton Miller'dan da çok fazla haberimiz yok. Oysa ki eterle ilgili çok sağlam çalışmalar yapmış zamanında. Edward Morley ile çalışmaları olmuş. Aynı zamanda Dayton Miller fonodik adı verilen bir alet icat etmiş ve ses dalgalarını fotoğrafik görsele çevirip ses dalgalarının analizini sağlayan bir şey yapmış, bir alet yapmış adam. Miller aynı zamanda Einstein'ın da teorilerinin çok katı bir muhalifi olarak tanınan biriydi. Ama tabii ne oldu? Şimdi bütün bu isimler, az önce saydığım bütün bu isimler bugün mezarlarında ters dönüyorlar arkadaşlar. Çünkü yaptıkları bütün çalışmalar Cizvit Kopernik'in kendinin dahi inanmadığı bu ispatlanmamış küre dünya teorisinin sonunu getirdiği için bilim tarihine başarısızlık olarak geçti. Ama artık en azından düz dünyacılar bu dahilerin, bu büyük dahilerin hem itibarlarını hem de hak ettikleri saygıyı geri veriyor ve onların çalışmalarını geri getiriyorlar. Şimdi muhtemelen bir diğer çok önemli ismi atladığımı düşünüyorsunuz ama atlamadım. Şimdi ona geliyorum. Nikola Tesla'dan bahsediyorum arkadaşlar. Şimdi onunla ilgili anlatacaklarım esasında bu videoda anlatmak istediğim esas noktanın önemli bir kısmını oluşturuyor. Farkındaysanız Santos bu videonun başında dedi ki bir takım şeyleri sadece bilimle anlatamazsınız. Her açıdan ele alıp kapsamlı bir değerlendirme yapmalısınız. Yıllardır aynı şeyi düşünürüm. Özellikle de çağı ele geçirmiş sahte bilimin argümanları ile düz dünya ispatlamaya kalkışırsanız etrafınızda olan biten fenomenleri algılayamayacağınızı düşünüyorum. Ay'a mesela hala NASA gözlükleriyle bakıp da onun gidilememiş olsa bile bir toprak parçası olduğundan bahsediyorsanız bence kesinlikle hala NASA etkisi altındasınız. Şöyle söyleyeyim, NASA gözlükleri olmadan önce insanlar esasında daha açık fikirlilermiş ki bunu birazdan anlatacaklarımla göreceksiniz. Ama ne zaman ki NASA çalışmalarına ve beyin yıkamaya başlamış, işte ondan sonra bizim gerçekle bağımız da kopmaya başlamış arkadaşlar. Neyse ki Nikola Tesla bu dönemden önce yaşamış ki yaşadığı bu birazdan anlatacağım deneyim onun çalışmalarına yön vermiş. Tesla biliyorsunuz daha 39 yaşındayken çoktan AC motoru bulmuştu. İşte bunun yanında daha birçok icada imza atmış bir bilim adamı olarak Amerika'da ünlenmişti. Bir gün Hollywood yıldızı Sarah Bernhardt Tesla'yı bir partiye davet etmiş ve Tesla o partide hayatına yön veren adamla tanışmış. Şimdi Tesla'nın hayatına kim yön vermiş olabilir? Hangi bilim adamı, hangi araştırmacı falan diyebilirsiniz ama cevap hiçbiri arkadaşlar. Tesla'nın o gece hayatını değiştiren isim Swami Vivekananda, bir Hintli rahip. Swami Vivekananda 39 yıllık kısa ömrüne çok büyük başarılar katmış bir Hindu rahip. 19. yüzyılın son ve 20. yüzyılın ilk 10 yılında özellikle Batı'da hümanist kişiliği, Vedantik birlik temeline dayanan kardeşliği sağlama çabaları ile ünlenmiş. İşte o gece partide Tesla'ya Vedantik doktrinin 3 temel kavramı olan prana, akasha ve kalpastan bahsetmiş. Şimdi şöyle, prana yaşam enerjisi, yani kozmik enerji, akasha eter ve kalpas da zamanı temsil ediyor. O gece Tesla ve Vivekananda bu üçlüyle ilgili uzun uzun konuşuyorlar ve nihayetinde Tesla Vivekananda'ya bunları matematiksel olarak ispatlayabileceğini söylüyor. Ve ilerleyen zamanlarda Swami Vivekananda bir arkadaşına yazdığı mektupta Tesla'dan bahsediyor ve şöyle söylüyor. Bay Tesla, kuvvet ve maddenin potansiyel enerjiye indirgenebileceğini matematiksel olarak gösterebileceğini düşünüyor. Bu yeni matematiksel gösterimi almak için önümüzdeki hafta onu görmeye gideceğim. Bu durumda Vedantik kozmoloji en sağlam temellere oturacaktır. Şu anda Vedanta'nın kozmolojisi ve eskatolojisi üzerinde çok çalışıyorum. Modern bilimle mükemmel birliği açıkça görüyorum ve birinin açıklamasını diğerlerinin takip edeceğini düşünüyorum. Tesla o gece Vivekananda'dan o kadar çok etkileniyor ki Hindi kozmolojisi, akasha ve prana kavramları üzerinde çalışmaya başlıyor. Doğa olaylarını betimlerken eski Sanskrit terminolojisini kullanmaya başlıyor aynı zamanda. Ve 1891 gibi erken bir tarihte Tesla, evreni herhangi bir yerde kullanılabilecek enerjiyle dolu bir kinetik sistem olarak tanımlıyor. Eric Dollard ve Pierre Luigi yine de benzer şeylerden bahsetmiyor mu? Peki sonra ne oluyor? Bu Tesla ile ilgili bir video yapmıştım. İzlemediyseniz mutlaka izleyin. Thomas Edison'un başını çektiği bir takım kişiler tarafından çalışmalarına el konuldu ve bir otel odasında 5 parasız bir şekilde öldü. Peki neden FBI Tesla'nın bütün çalışmalarına el koyup da top secret kategorisini alıp insanlıktan gizledi? Bugün kullanılan harp teknolojisinden 5G'ye kadar birçok sistemin çalışmasını sağlayan şeyin eter olduğunu bilmiyor muyuz? Tesla daha neler icat etmişti? Neden bu çalışmalar hala FBI binasında kilitli kapılar arkasında saklanıyor? Çünkü dünyanın hareket etmediğinin ispatı orada yatıyor. Şimdi bir an için günümüze gelelim. Şimdi esas konuya doğru gelelim yavaş yavaş. Diyelim ki şöyle bir parti düşünün. Swami Vivekananda hala hayattaymış. Angelina Jolie olsun bir parti vermiş ve bu partiye işte Brian Cox, Michio Kaku, Neil Soytarısı gibi adamları da çağırmış olsun. Ve Vivekananda'nın Tesla'ya anlattığı şeylerin aynısını bu adamlara da anlattığını düşünün. Sizce tepkileri ne olurdu? Sizce Tesla gibi oturup dinler, anlamaya çalışır ve üzerinde çalışırlar mıydı, yoksa red mi ederlerdi? Kendi fikrimi söylüyorum, reddederlerdi. Çünkü modern bilim artık dünyayı tanrısız bir devre sokmaya çalıştığı için bugün bilim adamı olmanın neredeyse ilk kuralı ateist olmak, yaratılışla ilgili bütün iddiaları reddetmek, evrimci olmak, büyük patlamadan doğan tesadüfler olduğumuza inanmak. Esasında bugünkü Tanrı yaklaşımını çok güzel bir şekilde ortaya koyan bir video var. Çok kısa, ben ona da yaptım, alt yazıda ekledim. Onu da bir izleyelim. Bu konuya devam edeceğim. Ondan sonra da yavaş yavaş toparlamaya çalışacağım.
Hello, Professor Dawkins. How are you? I'm Ben Stein. I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You have written that God is a psychotic delinquent invented by mad, deluded people.
No, I didn't say quite that. I said something rather better than that.
Oh, well, please tell us what you said. Please tell us what you said.
Well, I would have to read it from the book.
No, please.
The God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character in all fiction. Jealous and proud of it, a petty, unjust, unforgiving control freak, a vindictive, bloodthirsty ethnic cleanser, a misogynistic, homophobic, racist, infanticidal, genocidal, filicidal, pestilential, megalomaniacal, sadomasochistic, capriciously malevolent bully.
So that's what you think of God?
Yeah.
How about if people believed in a God of infinite lovingness and kindness and forgiveness and generosity, sort of like the modern day God? Why spoil it for them?
Oh,
why not just let them have their fun and enjoy it?
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I write a book, people can read it if they want to. I believe that it is a liberating thing to free yourself from primitive superstition.
So religion is a primitive superstition?
Oh, I think it is, yes.
So you believe it's liberating to tell people that there is no God?
I think a lot of people, when they give up God, feel a great sense of release and freedom.
Why do you think that? I mean, what's your dad? What's your scientist? What's your data?
I think, well, I've had a lot of letters saying that, and I've...
There are 8 billion people in the world, Dr. Dawkins. How many letters have you had?
No, I haven't done that. That's quite true.
Professor Dawkins seemed so convinced that God doesn't exist that I wondered if he would be willing to put a number on it.
Well, it's hard to put a figure on it, but I mean, I'd put it as something like, 99% against or something.
Well, how do you know it's 99% against, say, and not 97%?
No, I did. You asked me to put a figure on it, and I'm not comfortable putting a figure on it. I think I just think it's very unlikely.
What? But you couldn't put a number on it?
No, of course not.
So it could be 49%.
Well, it would be. I mean, I think it's unlikely, and it's quite far from 50%.
How do you know?
I don't know. I mean, I put an argument in the book.
Well, then who did create the heavens and the earth?
Why do you use the word who? You see, you immediately beg the question by using the word who.
Well, then how did it get created?
Well, by a very slow process.
Well, how did it start?
Nobody knows how it started. We know the kind of event that it must have been. We know the sort of event that must have happened for the origin of life.
And what was that?
It was the origin of the first self-replicating molecule.
Right, and how did that happen?
I told you we don't know.
So you have no idea how it started?
No, nor has anybody.
Nor has anyone else. What do you think is the possibility that intelligent design might turn out to be the answer to some issues in genetics or in evolution?
It could come about in the following way. It could be that at some earlier time, somewhere in the universe, a civilization evolved by probably some kind of Darwinian means to a very, very high level of technology and designed a form of life that they seeded onto, perhaps this planet. Now, that is a possibility and an intriguing possibility. And I suppose it's possible that you might find evidence for that if you look at the details of biochemistry, molecular biology. You might find a signature of some sort of designer.
Wait a second. Richard Dawkins thought intelligent design might be a legitimate pursuit?
And that designer could well be a higher intelligence from elsewhere in the universe. Well, but that higher intelligence would itself have had to have come about by some explicable or ultimately explicable process. It couldn't have just jumped into existence spontaneously. That's the point.
So Professor Dawkins was not against intelligent design, just certain types of designers, such as God.
So the Hebrew God, the God of the Old Testament, he doesn't exist in your view?
Certainly. I mean, that would be a very unpleasant prospect.
And the Holy Trinity of the New Testament,
nothing like that.
Do you believe in any of the Hindu gods? Like Vishnu?
How can you ask such a question?
You don't,
how,
right?
How could I? I mean, why would I, given that I don't believe in any others?
You don't believe in the Muslim God?
No. I mean, why do you even need to ask?
Well, I just wanted to be sure. So you don't believe in any God anywhere?
Any God anywhere would be completely incompatible with anything that I've said
I assume. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. You don't believe in any God anywhere?
No.
What if after you died you ran into God? He said, what have you been doing, Richard? I mean, what have you been doing? I've been trying to be nice to you. Yeah. I gave you a multi-million-dollar paycheck over and over again with your book, and look what you did.
Bertrand Russell had that point put to him, and he said something like, "Sir, why did you take such pains to hide yourself?"
Tanrı'yı insanlardan gizlemek için ellerinden gelen her şeyi yapıp sonra çıkıp Tanrı'yı kendini gizlemekle suçlamak ne kadar büyük bir aptallık. Oysa ki kalbinin atışından güneşin doğuşuna kadar her şey Tanrı'nın varlığının bir ispatıdır. İnsan bedenindeki o müthiş detay, doğadaki o müthiş uyum, bunların hepsi Tanrı'nın imzasını taşıyan gerçeklerdir. Büyük patlama ve evrimle, ki her iki teori de yine cizvitlerin başının altından çıkmış birer teoridir. Bunların her ikisi de insan hayatından Tanrı denilen kavramı çıkarmak için dizayn edilmiştir. Ve o nedenle düz dünya ve Tanrı'nın varlığı birbiriyle son derece iç içe geçmiş iki gerçektir. Çünkü kutsal yazıların hepsi, antik uygarlıkların istisnasız hepsi dünyanın uzayda deli danalar gibi dolanan bir top olduğundan daha başka bir şey söylüyordu. Hepsi düz bir dünya üzerinde gök kubbe ile çevrili bir sistemin içinde yaşadığımızı söylüyorlardı. O nedenle küre dünyayı insanların zihinlerine pompalamak aynı zamanda insanların Tanrı'ya olan inancını da sorgulatacak bir konuydu. Kutsal yazılardaki dünya kavramıyla dünyanın sözüm ona gerçek şekli eğer çelişiyorsa o yazıları vahyeden Tanrı'ya nasıl güvenebilirdiniz? Geriye doğru 2 adım atıp resme oradan bakın. Bir tarafta yaratan Tanrı'nın kullandığı bir teknoloji var ve bir tarafta da pagan bir bilimin ortaya sunduğu sahte bir bilim var. Görebiliyor musunuz resmi? Sahte bilimin hükmettiği bu modern çağda içsel yolculuğumuzu unutup materyalistik bedenler haline geldik. İlişkilerimiz, dostluklarımız, sevgimiz bile materyal bir hale geldi. Ahlak kavramlarımız değişti. Modernlik adı altında zıvanadan çıkmış bir hayat yaşamaya başladık. İşte insanlığın ipini böylesine kopardığı bir noktada düz dünya o nedenle önemlidir arkadaşlar. Çünkü dünyanın düz olduğunu biliyorsan Tanrı'yı biliyorsun demektir. Tanrı'yı bulduysan da ruhsal olarak iyileşmeye başlamışsın demektir. Gözlerinizi kapatın, etrafınızı saran eteri hissedin. Bütün kalbinizle Tanrı'ya şükredin ve bırakın eter dualarınızı gitmesi gereken yere ulaştırsın. İçinizdeki öfkeyi, düşmanlığı, sevgisizliği atın gitsin. Hiç ihtiyacınız yok bunlara. Çünkü zihninizde ne yaratıyorsanız etrafınızda o enerjiyle sarmalıyorsunuz. Bırakın gitsin, salın kendinizi doğanın içine ve Tanrı'nın yarattığı bütün güzelliklerin tadını çıkarın. Eterin sonsuz olduğunu ve her noktaya ulaşabildiğini bildiğim için sevgilerimi etere yükleyip her nerede dinliyorsanız oraya gönderiyorum. Bugünlük benden bu kadar. Şimdilik hoşça kalın arkadaşlar.